want to meet. We've been here since time immemorial, and we continue to take our rightful place in the world. We encourage you to visit us, to get to know us as a people, and see how we can be friends and neighbors together. You can visit the tribe's webpage, or you can purchase the Strong People book, of which I author 2 chapters in. It's a great way to get to know more about us. With that, I would like to introduce you to our slalom singers. We have a small contingency here tonight. We have Joe Price, Shalana, Kaylee, and Laura. And we're going to sing one song for you, and then we will continue with this evening's festivities. So again, I raise my hands to all of you. Thank you for being here.
Tongan Nastasia, Utqui, Joseph Price, Chindakea, Exclium, Neat Qui, Mislani, Laura Price, Neat Qui, Nastasia, Shaylee, and Shalana. We're going to do a song tonight, and the song represents, when we get together and we sing the song, we sing it with our other slalom bands, our other slalom villages. And the words to the song are Thingeth Qui Eam Team. We sing strong, but it's a representative of us all working together as one. And like tonight, what this dinner represents is all of us here together working for the same goal. So that's the song we're going to sing tonight. We sing strong. Hey, is thank you, and Nischayecha is friends and family. There's no differentiation between the two. So Nischayecha, Hatans and Nischayecha. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe and Clown Singers. I'd like to turn it over to Senator Christine Rolfes. She has represented our district for over a decade, and prior to that, she served on the Bainbridge City Council. It's an honor to have her here with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina, and thank you for the beautiful performance from the Port Gamble S'Klallam Tribe Singers. Hey, how about a shout out right now to Island Hut for the awesome food? They are in Bremerton on 6th and Montgomery if you're in that neighborhood or need catering. I want to also, before I begin my comments about Tarra, and I didn't clear this with her first, so I hope it's okay. I want to begin by acknowledging community and acknowledging how important our mentors and our elders are for those of us who run for office and those of us who are community leaders. And I really want to honor Representative Sherry Appleton, who's not here tonight. For folks who know her, she's fine. She's like traveling around the world, which is why she's not here. But I want you all to know that when I first ran for the legislature, I was Tara's age. I was 39. I had kids at home. I didn't know how you could run for office and serve in the legislature and have kids. And Sherry really talked to me about it. She sat me down. She told me what it's like. And she lifted me up and talked me into running. She encouraged me to run. And when I was in the House, she was my mentor and she helped me all along the way. And I know she did the same thing for Tarra. She lifted Tarra up. She talked her up about running for public office. She told her she could win in our district. And Sherry was behind Tarra every step of the way. And so I want to really honor Sherry Appleton today as Tarra and I stand her. She lifted us on her very short but strong shoulders, and we're here because of her in many, many ways. And I also I want to talk a little bit about Tarra. I'm so excited to be here to help Tarra with her campaign and to support her. I couldn't believe when she asked me to introduce her because it's a huge honor, and she could have asked any of you, but she asked me, and I'm just thrilled to be here to talk about Tarra. For those of you who don't know her really well, which I think is maybe 3 people here, she's not just our state representative, but she's also a lawyer. She's a well-known civil rights activist. She's a national leader in criminal justice reform. When the Washington State Bar would not admit Tarra as a formerly incarcerated individual, she took her fight all the way to the Washington Supreme Court, and she won.
That's right!
She made history in 2020 when she was elected from this legislative district as who we think is the first formerly incarcerated person to be representing in a state legislature in the entire country. Also an achievement. But those accomplishments aren't why we love Tarra Simmons. They're the accomplishments that gave her the platform and the base to run for office and to now run for re-election. But we support her because we love her. Mm-hmm. And we love her because she's an inspiration for every single person here and for every person that she meets in one way or another. Some personal information, she had her first child, Devin. Is Devin here? Yeah. Mm-hmm. She had Devin when she was 15, and look how well he turned out. She had him when she was 15, and she still got herself through high school. She graduated from Central Kitsap, and she got herself through nursing school as a single mom, using state support to help support Devin and herself and get herself the degree that she would need in order to provide for her family. She had everything in the book thrown at her over her life to bring her down, and yet she continued to rise. She was born with a strength of character and determination that most people learn over the course of their lifetime. She's a gift. And while she overcomes everything, she rises up again, She brings that strength, that superhero strength in many ways. She's bringing it now to all of us in our legislative district, and she's using her platform from our legislative district to do it for the entire state. So I want to just touch on a few things that she's accomplished in 2 very short years, 2 years which I will highlight were online. So she didn't even, people don't even know the magnitude of her power and charisma because most of this was online. But when she first got elected, she fulfilled one of her first promises, which was to restore voting rights to people who were formerly incarcerated as soon as they get out of the correctional. This year, she partnered with the Attorney General's office to make sure that hospitals honor the state law requiring charity care so that families throughout the state would stop being bankrupted when they need emergency hospital care and find they can't pay the bills. Tarra did that, and that will help thousands of families forever. And then she finally, among many things, and hopefully she'll talk a little bit about it, but she also used her power as a first-year legislator to advocate for our community in ways that Drew and I aren't able to because we weren't new, so we couldn't sell our colleagues on these ideas. She was able to provide support to the Port Gamble S'Klallam tribe to continue their re-entry program. She helped the city of Colesba with mental health treatment, partnering the resources that they needed to provide those social service partnerships with their police and EMT programs. She helped the Silverdale Bremerton Chamber of Commerce with grant money for small business development to help make sure the smallest businesses could get through COVID safely. And then on an environmental note, she was a champion with us for the Illahee Preserve and for the Eglon Trust Lands up here in North Kitsap. So she has used her power and her strength and her talent to help every single one of us in so many ways. And I'm excited for her to keep doing that. We know she's going to get reelected, but we need everybody's help. And I'm going to turn it over to Tarra right now.
We're just fighting over who's the best. I think she's the best. Oh my gosh. Oh. Well, thank you everyone for being here. It is such an honor to be in this room with so many people who I really love and admire, people who I haven't got to know as well as I want to yet, like I'm seeing Mai there. We're gonna come to some more of your events, and just this community is what makes me who I am. Christine, thank you for those remarks. Actually, you took some of my speech away, so I don't have to talk about my accomplishments anymore. Everyone knows, that's great. But you are a true blessing to me. You are the epitome of what I have always thought in a role model and a strong woman who is gracious, who is kind, and who gets shit done. And so thank you. I'm sad that Sherry's not here, but you are filling in a great way. Thank you so much. So this is my second annual Champions of Justice Awards event. Although this is an event to support my re-election, I decided I wanted to use it as a way to uplift our community and bring together diverse communities across the district so they can network and make connections. I loved it when we walked in. I was walking in with Greg, who has the Run Far Foundation. There he is, Greg Nance, who just finished running from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean to raise awareness for youth mental health. I was walking in with him, and I was walking in with our special speaker, who I will talk about in a moment, Kamanti Carter, and we bumped into God's Broken Home University. And God's Broken Home University, which is the Island Hut family, is Credible Messengers. They're going into Echo Glen and Nacelle and Green Hill and reaching the youth that are incarcerated there and making sure they come home and that they have the support and services they need. They're also doing gang violence prevention work, really important in our community. And so connecting all these people who care about our youth and who are uplifting our community is so important, and there's so many people like that in this room. So that's why I have this event, is because I want you to get to know each other, and I want to honor other people. I've been so lucky to get into this position, And there's so many other people who haven't had the exceptional opportunities that I've had and are doing even more impactful work on a day-to-day basis, and I really want to honor them. So thank you for being here, and I hope that this event continues to grow. I want to acknowledge some elected officials here and candidates, so that way everybody knows who they are, and you can connect with them after the event. And so we do have, Senator Rolfes. Everyone knows we have Senator Rolfes. We also have his prosecutor, Chad Enright, who's right there. He walked in a little possibly late because he has children that he's been shuffling around. We also have County Commissioner candidate Katie Walters. Where are you, Katie? Can you wave? Oh, she's right over there. We have Kitsap County Superior Court Judge candidate Stan Glisson here. I don't know where he's at, right there. Yeah. And then we have Secretary of State candidate Julie Anderson, and I saw her right there. Julie Anderson is currently the Pierce County Auditor and is partnering with my day job, Civil Survival Project, to make sure that the people that are in the jail have access to their right to vote. Since they have rights to vote, everyone in jail does now, she's making sure they have access to their ballot. So thank you. So it has been the honor of my life, truly, to serve you all for the last 2 years. I know that I have gone through so much in my life, from being homeless on the streets, having Devon at 15, being on TANF, being the first in my family to graduate from high school, let alone go on to college, being abused in every way possible. I've had so much trauma and adverse childhood experiences, and the result of that often is people use substances and become incarcerated. And I know all the people in prison, and I know their stories, and I know that they also didn't have a first chance at life. And there was never anybody in the legislature that had that experience that could bring that to that place and say, let's open our hearts and have empathy and look how they got here. Let's reform our punitive approaches to this because it's not working. And so, I really feel like it's my purpose to be there right now and to also get others ready so they can take over and I can retire one day. So as much as I've been able to get done, and Christine was so wonderful and gracious and highlighted some of the great work I've been able to do for our district and the bills I've been able to pass, it's also been really difficult. And being the first and only is kind of lonely at times. And also, I'm navigating, still going through the ongoing trauma of where I've been and trying to educate others in the caucus room. And instead of backing away from that, though, I am transparent about where I'm at and I'm recovering. I tell everyone I'm still recovering and I need your support. And I'm working to change policies so we can treat people more humanely. And sometimes it's really hard, but you are my people. You are my community. And you all have continued to lift me up and to make sure I can keep going back. I don't feel ashamed anymore about where I've been, and I don't feel afraid of where we're going, because I know I have all of you. I love him. He's the director of the Office of Public Defense in his day job. If we all had a public defender like that, let me tell you. Okay, but really this is collective impact. And that's what I really want to honor today. And I think that's what I've chosen with all of the awardees, is this is collective impact, and I benefit from it. I just want to talk briefly about something that happened earlier this year and how all of you came to help me. Many of you know that I received death threats earlier this year over a piece of legislation that I had introduced that would give judges more discretion when they're sentencing people who committed a homicide and it was done from inside a vehicle. That legislation came to me from a group of advocates. Dr. Gilda Shepard, who is a professor at Evergreen, created a documentary called Since I've Been Down. Yeah! How many people have seen the documentary Since I've Been Down? Okay, great. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you go home and watch it. I think it is on Netflix now. So the coalition included also a former King County judge and state senator. His name was Michael Heavey, and he had regretted voting for the Hard Time for Armed Crime Act in the mid-1990s. Upon reflection, he realized that the legislature was acting in a way that increased systemic racism. They convinced me to try and to correct this injustice, as Kamonte Carter was only 18 years old, and he was sentenced to life without any chance of ever being paroled at 18 years old. Our community here came together at that time, and so many of you supported me when the white nationalists were threatening my family. People helped me get my home safe and deal with the fear through a variety of ways, including digital and physical security at my home. And when the Washington State Patrol wrote it off as political hyperbole, our local sheriff and prosecutor stepped in to investigate and found the person that sent the death threats, and he was tied to the insurrection and had previous interactions with the FBI for similar behavior. Right now, the FBI and the U.S. Attorney have taken the case and I'm looking forward to advocating for a restorative justice process. Although our bill didn't pass, I stand by the reasons that I introduced that bill. And restorative justice process is so beautifully captured in the documentary Since I've Been Down. Today, we have several of the amazing men of the Black Prisoners Caucus here. We have Kamonte himself. And we have Cyril, and Cyril helped us pass the voting rights bill. He called in from prison. Cyril was part of the leadership team of the Voting Rights Restoration Coalition. He would call in from the prison and organize with us and make sure we got that bill done from inside, and he also got resentenced. And then we have Eugene Youngblood, who was also in the documentary and is an amazing mentor and advocate now, living free in the community after he was resentenced and given a second chance. People in prison are uniquely situated to prevent further incarceration of the youth of today, and all of these men are doing exactly that. But yeah, so thankfully, because of our Supreme Court rulings, we haven't been able to get much done in the legislature, but the Supreme Court has been passing some really good rulings based on juvenile brain research. That's why we have these three gentlemen here with us today. And when our community watched the resentencing of Kamonte Carter recently together, many of us wept, many of us had written letters on his behalf to his sentencing judge. And so when we watched that, we watched the healing and justice and mercy play out a few months ago. I absolutely knew that I needed to have him here when he came home. And so he's gonna come here and address you right now. Thank you.
How's everybody doing? First and foremost, I just want to give, thanks to, the land and the people we stand on, right? The Quantum tribe. This is the first that I'm learning of you, but we built many of circles, broke many of breads with a lot of our indigenous folks here in Washington and across the country. So, thank y'all for having me. But first and foremost, this isn't about me, right? This is about our collective work. Because it was the community that ultimately allowed me to be able to get out of prison, right? It was the collective work that was going on the inside where, you was having, young men like Mr. Eugene Youngblood, who was, really taking a lot of young cats up under their wings and really helping them to be able to understand that you got to look through the world with a different lens in order for us to be able to understand it, right? One of the things that we was able to do on the inside is we was able to bridge and break across many of the racial barriers that really exist in prison as a way of helping people to understand is that collectively we can change the environment and the conditions that we are suffering from. Right? Sometimes people don't know that they're sick. Yeah. It's up for us to be able to help them. You know what I'm saying? And so, the things that we've always we've always done for ourselves is we've always refused to be the voice of people who can speak for themselves. Yeah. Right? That's our job as a community. right? It's our job. If we're talking about collective, if we're talking about building equity, it's important for us to be able to consider everybody who's sitting in this space, right? And so, you know what I'm saying, I'm so thankful that we got the Black Student Union up in here. Give y'all because what they represent is they represent the young. They represent that young life that if we as a community are trying to help and to support, then it's our job to be able to take their guidance. We was young long ago, right? And so when we get to trying to interpret the things that young folks are going through today, we can't use our experience as the backdrop. We have to be able to tap in with people who are directly impacted by the issues that we're trying to deal with. And that goes for the same when we're dealing with mental health issues. That goes to the same when we're dealing with homelessness. That goes to the same when we're talking about people who are re-entering from incarceration. We have to be able to speak to the people who are closely related to the issues, right? But hopefully, this is what's happening here in Kitsap County. Like that's why I came out here, because I'm coming from King. You know, my brothers Eugene and Cyril, they're coming from Pierce County. But what we're doing is we're trying to work across county lines because we realize that there's a lot of work to do. So you know, at the end of the day, man, it's a beautiful thing that you guys got going on here. Hopefully, it doesn't stop here, right? Hopefully, that the checks that we cut to, you know, Mrs. Simmons' campaign isn't the only checks that we cut, because there's a lot of programs around here that also need funding. You know what I'm saying? So if we're talking about supporting and uplifting the community in which we live, then let's do that in practice. Right? So, and again, it's my time. Thank you for having me. You know.
Thank you, Monty. And I know when I need to lobby my legislators, I'm just kidding. I got power now. I got power. We're gonna send them to King County, Pierce County, everywhere. So now we're gonna get to honoring some wonderful community leaders. The first award I have is for Andre Henderson. Unfortunately, Andre was not able to make it, but he is watching on Facebook Live, I hope. So I still want to give Andre his award, and I've asked Drayton Jackson to come up here and accept it on his behalf. I want to say a few things about Andre. Andre has been a dear friend of mine. You know, he's also a person who has overcome a lot in his life. He was in the Navy and had some trauma and had substance use disorder and was in jail and didn't see a way out. And he got clean and he went back to Olympic College. He founded the Reentry Collective at Olympic College to help other students with similar lived experiences. He also volunteered with Civil Survival Project, and then he went on to University of Washington, Tacoma, where he served as the president of the formerly incarcerated Student Association. He also serves on several boards in our community. He serves on the board of directors for the Bremerton Housing Authority, the NAACP, the Kitsap Community Resources, and Kitsap Mental Health. All of that while raising a family, being in recovery, getting his bachelor's degree, and now he's going to get his master's degree. He loves his community and his family, and it is very apparent in the way that he shares the limited time he has. He's also a very strong member of his church, which is the Sinclair Baptist Church. I think I saw Pastor Coleman here, Pastor Coleman, and he's actually over there. He's just a true servant leader, and he's very humble, but he's also a fierce advocate of justice of all kinds. And so I am really proud to honor Andre Henderson with the 2022 Champion of Justice Award. I'm gonna have Brittany take it to him. Andre, Drayton's going to take you to dinner to bring it to you. So, all right. So the next person I want to honor is Carolyn Zimmers. Where's Carolyn? Okay, and I would like Pam Keeley to come up and help me with this award, please. One thing I'm trying to do, although this is a new second annual event, last year Drayton Jackson was my awardee, and last year Pam Keeley was my awardee. And I'd like to see this continue to go and be given by past awardees to future awardees. And maybe one day there'll be an advisory board and a collective, and they can stand up here and do all the talking, and I can sit and watch. But, okay, so Pam is going to give this to Carolyn. I want to talk about why I am honoring Carolyn Zimmers. Carolyn is definitely, who knows Carolyn Zimmers here? Yeah. Carolyn is one of the hardest working activists I know. After retiring from a long career as a veterinarian, her first efforts were focused on laws for animal rights and banning the sale of factory-farmed puppy mill animals locally and statewide. And Sherry worked with her. Sherry was a huge animal rights activist, and Carolyn was her sidekick. And after the election of Donald Trump, Carolyn saw that there was a desperate outcry of fear for our most vulnerable communities, and that became the more urgent call to activism. So in the aftermath of that 2016 election, Carolyn co-founded the North Kitsap Indivisible, working with other statewide indivisible groups and national leadership to protect our freedoms. She also co-founded Save Secular Healthcare Washington, super important because of our monopolies here. And that was during the takeover of Harrison by CHI, and she's now focused on preventing further takeover of our hospice and acute care facilities by monopolies. She also co-founded the Alliance for Ethical Healthcare, which is a Kitsap group dedicated to enhanced secular healthcare options with an equity lens, things such as making sure that we have abortion access, LGBTQ, gender affirming care, death with dignity, all these things that she really cares about. And she also stepped up with the Democratic Party to hold several positions on the e-board and as a PCO organizer. What I really love about Carolyn is that she pushes the conversation forward. I'm sure that Christine and I can both tell you she keeps us on our toes. And Andrew, she doesn't discriminate. She really keeps advocating. She's very, very good, and I love it. I love it. We need that. We need people to keep pushing us. She works with the Nonpartisan League of Women Voters, the Pro-Choice Advocates, the ACLU, and other grassroots, local, individual coalitions and communities working for equity, healthcare, and the environment. I always appreciate her calls, texts, emails during session, and actually she's a really good source of personal support for me too. When I'm pulling my hair out, when I'm really upset, I've been able to reach out to her, and she's really had my back and supported me. So Carolyn, I know that you really like to work behind the scenes and you don't like to be recognized in these ways, but you are an incredible advocate for our community. You are a workhorse, and our collective work would not be what it is without you. So please accept this award.
Well, I have some prepared. I'm not a very good speaker. I do like working behind the lines, but I just wanted to thank Tarra and Pam and everybody else that is here tonight. I'm honored to receive this award, but it really goes to all the people who do the work and make me look good. I don't do all this work. One of the biggest rewards of this work is meeting wonderful people, including many who have become good friends, like Tarra and Pam, and all the people I work with. You are my new family. Kitsap Surge and Kitsap Erase is teaching me about my about racial inequities and my biases, and my internal work on these issues continues. And as Tarra said, the League of Women Voters introduced me to issues from a nonpartisan perspective, and the 23rd LD and the Kitsap County Democrats is where I first met Tarra. Even before she had decided to run when Sharon was trying to talk you into it. It was a real battle. I mean, it was a real. She had to talk to you about it. I'm so glad she did. It's wonderful. So many of the groups I work with, you know already, but and Tara mentioned quite a few of them already, so I don't really have to go into them as much as I would. Kids Have Indivisible was formed after the national organization was founded in 2016 after that election, And then out of that, I worked very closely with Indivisible Bainbridge Island, and we formed a group called Bainbridge Island Kids Have Indivisible, and its short name is Binky. And we present politically focused forums, and it's been online because, of course, of COVID. I want to honor Kath Wilhelm, Sharon Budd. They helped me manage a postcard writing group with over 70 volunteers, and they're here in the audience. I see Sharon over there, and anyway, Kath's here someplace. We and our volunteers have written thousands of postcards in support of various candidates and campaigns. We continue to do that. A special mention goes to Kath, who, as I said, people make me look good. She edits our flyers, banners, postcards, and makes it all look very professional. In the healthcare area, as Tara said, I joined with Susan Young in the campaign to fight the takeover of Virginia Mason by Catholic Health Initiative, CHI. We are conducting an ongoing war to fight the monopolization of our healthcare system. We've morphed it into an organization called Save Secular Healthcare, Washington, and we are currently very active at the state level efforts to oblige healthcare networks to follow the laws regarding charity care and death with dignity. And thank you very much for the charity care. But we have to make sure that they follow the law, because if they, unless nobody's paying attention, they might not. Anyway, Alliance for Equitable Healthcare, as Tara mentioned, is an offshoot of that. This is a large group of local citizens working to find secular healthcare options in Kitsap County. We're looking at different things like maybe a hospital district. So anybody that wants to get involved in that, and you have knowledge and background in that, we would love that. And a group led by Kathy Wallace, Holly Brewer, and myself, we canvassed in Bremerton for Tara in her new precincts that she got because of redistricting, and Emily Randall. We need more boots on the ground, and we need people to drive those boots around. So if you have time to do that. And last but hardly least, I really want to honor Pam Keeley, who started Paulsville for All when she was running as a write-in for City Council, which acts as a watchdog group, monitoring Paulsville City Council, pressing for respectful relationships with the tribes, and working for affordable housing, holistic city planning, and environmental protection, and many, many other things. I just want to mention 4 council seats and the position of mayor will be up for election next year. If you know someone who would be a good candidate, please send them our way. We have campaign organization tools and volunteers, and we are ready to support them. Now, this is the ask, but I know I'm singing to the choir here because you all do so much work. But if you have any extra energy, we were going to put flyers on the table with listing all the groups that you know them. But if there's also a piece of paper on the table, if you have any more energy and time, write your name. Or we found, because we left the flyers at home, unfortunately. So you can write on that, paper plates there. Anyway, and just think about your skills and find even more ways to put your own boots on the ground and help to make change, which you're already doing. Thank you all for the efforts and donations you already provide, and thank you to the Port Gamble Sklallam Tribe for hosting us today on their ancestral lands. And thank you. Thank
you, Carolyn. She does so much for us. and a lot of people don't see it. I hear it at about 11:30 at night when she texts me. She's like, did you look at this yet? Oh. She's great. Okay, the next person that I'd like to honor is Christina Rourke. Who in here knows Christina Rourke? Yeah, look at that, look at that. Christina Rourke is more than a champion of justice.
Correct.
I frequently refer to her as Kitsap County's community angel.
Yes. Yes.
5 years ago, Christina was at a juncture in her career and called to something higher, wanting to make a larger impact in the community that she has called home for the last 24 years. She took a leap of faith by hopping from the for-profit and largest philanthropic sector to the nonprofit and human services to do her part in sparking equitable systems change. She joined Kitsap Strong as the Innovation Network Manager, working to build resilience and transform systems in our community by promoting and expanding values-based leadership through trauma-informed practices and direct services to individuals living in our community. She brings with her a decade of experience as a management consultant for systems and processes, and another decade as a senior IT business analyst, and an organizational culture contributor with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. She carries a master's in business administration and a bachelor's of arts degree in economics. Her work is incredibly important and powerful, and it will indeed change the world in time. However, Christina is so much more than her role with Kitsap Strong. That's not why I really picked her. Just thought I would tell you the professional stuff, but she is the most authentic supporter and encourager of our most vulnerable neighbors and grassroots organizers on a daily basis. She is our community's source of joy.
Yes.
And she spreads it and other resources in an equitable way through meaningful relationships.
Yes.
When I think about the need for mutual aid, I think of Christina. With her own time and resources, you will find her several times a week, quietly working to fill the needs of people in our community. She loves to make sure people around her who are hungry, busy, or stressed feel supported. I know she's dropped off El Balcone on my back porch when I was in legislative session, working until 6 a.m. And I see her around the community every day, giving to somebody. She is an extra set of hands and a sounding board for our community helpers who organize to meet immediate needs. You'll find her in recent years supporting Doc Loves the Kids Day, and then back to school events, working with the Island Hut family to secure supplies for our unhoused neighbors, or making house calls to pick up hygiene products for the women at George's house. She's done that to me too. She's come over to my house and picked up hygiene products for, I think, Mai's celebration, and whose birthday was it? Well, I'm getting off topic here. But she shows up to almost every single community event that we have to quietly take photos and share that joy through the gift of her photography and her generous heart. She is honored to be recently invited to serve on the Flodell Reserve Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility Initiative Board with Kimmy Kinishida, Noel Purser, and retired Judge Robin Hunt, amongst community-led groups doing meaningful work. There are so many things that Christina quietly does for our community that I could never capture them all, but anyone that knows her knows, right? You all know. Yeah. The most important thing is the authentic relationships and love that she shows, which has built resilience in so many community leaders, including me. She is the role model of a servant leader, a humble, loving human that so many of us are blessed to call a treasured friend. And I am proud to honor her with the 2022 Champion of Justice Award. And Monk, where's Monk? Monk is gonna come and give it to her. Yeah.
Everybody, I don't know if you can hear me okay. I just wanted to acknowledge, it just really feels wonderful to come here on the lands of Fort Campbell's Column Tribe. be with all of you. A year ago, there were masks and smiles in your eyes, but now we're just here together to honor Tarra, be in support of justice. But I also just wanted to acknowledge, she went off script, and I probably will too, because in terms of being authentic, really just enjoy the relationship. And I wouldn't be standing here today without all of the good work of the programs that are out there serving the most vulnerable in our community, and just kind of diving into the deep strengths that we have, and wanting to bridge as collective impact the resources, the deep resources that we have to those programs. So, Kamante, I really appreciate you calling that out, right? So, the students are that's the center of where our heart is. You guys being out here. Oh, there we go. How long you gotta go? So, appreciate you being out here. I wish you could be speaking, and I actually wish everybody else who is here today. So I'm gonna go down the list because it shouldn't, I really don't feel like it's me who can receive this award. Those of you who know me as Tina, I'm so excited that you're here. You've been along my ride for decades, and you know who I am. But the relationships that I've started to build, and I think I'm getting my strength right now from our tribal hosts, Suquamish, Port Gamble Squalam, gifts from the Makah tribe. Thank you, Cynthia. I just am going to take this time. Wanted to just say thank you, Our Gems, Marvin Williams, My, Up From Slavery Initiative, Hope 360, Surviving Change, Living Life Leadership, Living Arts Cultural Heritage Project, Catalyst, Kids Out Black Student Union, trying to see you all, Suquamish Foundation, Welcome Home Program. Yes, I'm Kitsap Erase, Bainbridge Erase, Youth Empowerment Program. Help me out, Robin. Empowering Youth Mentor Program. And then I also see Indepino Community. Really appreciate all the representation here. And I also see you, Phil Am. So I really want you guys to know who's in the room. And as we break apart, I hope we take this time. I mean, we're gathered here in this beautiful space where we can actually make connections. And I really kind of extend my thanks to Tarra for making this opportunity available to us. And I see you kids in concert. I know you serve the community, and you're smiling at me, and I appreciate that. So, again, I want to point back to the youth. So, the reason why I can do this work is because I feel like people have my back, and I feel like I want to offer that to others. I hope we just build that culture and continue to do that in a collective impact way. That is the desire and the legacy of Kids Up Strong. Marlene, I love you. And I know the team promises here too. Allison would like to be here, and Cody would have been here as well. Our spirits are in this. So I just wanted to say, most of you probably don't recognize me because I like to walk around with a camera in front of my face. And I just wanted to say that I see you, but I also acknowledge the struggle, and I don't capture that part in the photos. So those of you who see my photos, I hope you realize there's a lot of hard work put out there to make these wonderful things available to our community. And I'm hoping that we're still working on systems transformation and cultural change. So that
you're amazing.
And I'll stop with this because I always feel like my heart's where grief and loss is. We're coming out from it. Tomorrow's never promised, so I love seeing your faces here today. I don't know if I'll see it again in a day, in a week. I don't know why I'm saying this, but Pastor Coleman, it's good to see your face. I'm always listening to your podcast, so thank you for being here. But I'm just going to end with this. Never regret a day in your life. Good days give happiness. Bad days give experience. Worst days give lessons. Best days give memories. So together we're a community with gems to offer, and I just say, as Island Hut, God's Broken Home University, let's go, keep going. Thank you.
That's wonderful. And I love how she knows every community organization. And that's why she is worthy and deserving of this. She knows us all, and she loves us. And it's a beautiful thing. All right, so we have one more award. Thank you all for being so patient and sitting through this, because it's really important. Kids Happy Race. Is Kids Happy Race here? I know Akuye Karen Vargas is here. Okay. So last year I had picked the Welcome Home program, and that's Janelle McFeet, who is here with us today. And this year I have chosen Kids Happy Race, and for a few reasons. Kids Up Equity, Race, and Community Engagement Coalition is part of a local legacy of people-powered change. It was first convened in the late 2019 by Akuye Karen Vargas, who many of us know and love. Fun fact, Akuye was my children's teacher for many years when we went to the same church a long time ago, like 20 years ago. And then when Dominic, my young Marine, was getting in trouble, she was taking care of him and keeping his butt out of juvenile justice system. And it worked out. Now he's in the Marines. And so I really appreciate you, Karen. But, you know, I appreciate her and the collective work that she's doing. Kids Happy Race builds up years of Black, Indigenous, people of color, and allies engaging neighbors in the hard work, the heart work, and the collective work of building beloved community. The coalition is a coming together of many groups, organizations, and individuals boosting their interconnected race equity work. It's rooted in relationships, collaboration, and commitment to racial justice. Kids Happy Race Coalition tenaciously organizes for thriving community and for profound, accountable, and liberatory institutional change. It is a completely grassroots coalition with people throughout our community giving what they can of their time, energy, and experience. And I don't know if you know, but the last 2 years they've been busy and gotten a lot done. I have personally been a member through my work with the Civil Survival Project before I was elected to the legislature, but I found specifically that the Criminal Justice Subcommittee as a space for authentic relationships and personal support during my legislative work, so thank you to everyone who's supported me on that. So I'd like to invite Janelle McFeet from the Welcome Home program to give the award to Akuye Karen Vargas from the Kids Happy Race Coalition.
I would like to give honor to God and also to one of my mentors that is no longer with us, Dr. Lawrence Ray Robinson. His birthday was yesterday. We just want to honor him for all of the work, hard labor, and sacrifice that he's given our community for over 40 years. One of the things that I always say is, I want you to look at yourself and I want you to look at your neighbor. Just turn and look at your neighbor. And I want you to say to your neighbor, nothing changes until we do. You know, nothing changes until we do. Change starts with us. It's going to take all of us. We have a model that we use. It's called Arias. Arias. Can you say that? Arias means inclusive, equitable, accountable. It means that you have to do the collective. You have to unify all of the efforts to make change. And we say Arias because it is our responsibility. It is we who need to do the work. And it's going to take all of us. So it's Arias. Arias. And so we walk in that with the Race Equity Committee. I'd like to thank Aaron Lydek. He's not here tonight. You gotta give honor to whom honor is due. This brother has labored diligently, above and beyond. And he not only We also have Miss Peggy Erickson, Miss Debbie Hossie. We have over in this corner, we also have Miss Alicia Charles. Miss Marva Jones is not here. We have Tiffany High that's here. These young people are Living Life Leadership students and our NAACP students who have labored in our community doing social work to make a difference. They've worked with our homeless. They've worked with diversity. They've gone into the schools. They've done the school to prison pipeline. They did street life, working with those that was less fortunate and those that were homeless. So they want to make a change in their community. They don't want to just be a lip service in it. They want to be able to go in and say, look, we got issues that we have to address, and we're not going to turn a blind eye to it. We need to come together in a collective way, in a unified way, to make the difference for the change. And guess what? I don't mind begging. I'm just going to be real. I don't mind making the ask and say, look, we need your help. We need your help. It's going to take all of us to make this change for all of our communities in Kitsap County. We got to break down these barriers and really begin building community across diverse barriers. And when I say that, that's racial, that's economic, that's all of the above. And if we're not willing to do that, and Lord knows I'm not a cussing woman, but when the doodle hit the fan, like we saw during the pandemic, that we saw all of the disparities, we saw all the challenges, we saw the lives that were being lost, and it had to take all of us to come together to make the difference. But guess what? We did it, and we strengthened our communities, and we strengthened one another, and we were talking to folks we ain't never talked to before. Ain't never talked to before. And I'm talking about across those racial lines, to say we can do better, and we can be better. And guess what? Many hands make light work. Many hands make light work. When we can strengthen and unify all of our communities, the most vulnerable in our communities, we're doing something, y'all. We're making a change and we're making a difference. But I just want to thank you for considering us and honoring us with this award this year. And the work must continue. And it's wonderful to get acknowledged, and it's wonderful to get a piece of paper. But then when it's all said and done, we got to wake up tomorrow and hit the ground running and get the word. That's right. That's right. Say it. That's right. You know what? I will. And I heard you. And I see who said I will. And I'll be knocking on the door. Thank you.
Is a local legend for real. Yes. And she has given us the gift of Kitsap Race, which all of us belong to and can belong to if you don't. So I hope you get plugged in, because there's a lot of good work going on there, all kinds of different work, and all of us need it. So, and I really love what she was saying about working across racial lines. And for me, it's also about working across political lines. Yes. And for working across adversarial kind of lines. And, you know, people, and sometimes I get bit, you know, but I keep trying. I keep trying to work across the aisle and work with Republicans. And, you know, when I can get that to work out, it works out much better for all of us. Yeah. And sometimes I get bit, and I fall down and I cry, and then I get back up and I you know, try maybe another route. But But I do. I really try to work across the aisle and across political spectrums and across ideologies. And, you know, as an impacted person, one of the most meaningful kind of cross relationships that I've built is with our Kitsap County prosecutor, Chad Enright. Chad has been a wonderful friend to me. And you would think, as somebody who's been prosecuted several times in my life, that I wouldn't be able to hang with him or the sheriff. But actually, you know what? I know at the end of the day, like, Chad and I have the same values. We care about this community. And I think that this relationship that we've built over the last 4 or 5 years has resulted in good fruit. We've been able to organize big events at the county courthouse to eliminate debts for people, to vacate criminal records. You know, he supported my drive-by shooting bill that I almost got killed over. But, you know, not really, but anyway, and then, you know, he had my back when that happened. And also, I would say that every, like, policy, we almost always have agreed so far. There's going to be times we don't agree. But we're building that relationship container to allow that to happen. And I would say that if anybody ever has a question about something going on in this county, you can reach out to him and he will talk to you. And he's reasonable and he will listen. And I am really glad that we are friends. And I am grateful that you're here. As you know, this is a community event, and you keep showing up to all the community events and caring about this community, even when, you know, sometimes you have to prosecute people. But I really appreciate you, and I appreciate you coming to do the ask.
I'm always afraid that when Tarra introduces me, one of these days she's going to have the Darth Vader theme song, Star Wars playing. Before I get started, I want to thank the folks at the front desk, working the desk, the folks serving the food, setting up the table, putting up the tent. Thank you guys for putting this together and doing all the legwork so that we can all be here. So, hand for this. I am here to talk to you guys about the cold, hard reality of politics. Now, if we were inside, I would say, shut the doors, don't let anyone leave. Every day as prosecutor, I struggle with what is justice. Every single day. I'm not exaggerating. Think about what that is every single day. And I don't know. I don't know what it is. I couldn't define it. Every time I think I know what it is, I get proven wrong. What you saw here today, justice can be about empowering people. Justice is about raising people up, lifting people up, fighting for others, not just yourself. That's what Tarra stands for. That's what she fights for down in Olympia. That's why we need her down in Olympia. And there are people that don't want her in Olympia. There are people that want her to be quiet. They want to shut her up. Folks, we got to make sure that it doesn't happen. Now, like Tarra said, we don't always agree. But what she does is she can stretch my mind to think about things and look at things from a different perspective. Learn things, hear different voices. She is a voice in Olympia for people that for generations have never been heard. She is their voice. That's why she needs to be there. I think some folks are going to come around with some QR codes. I'm hoping. We've got QR codes coming around. I want you to get out your phones. I want you to scan those QR codes. And I want you to donate to Tarra's campaign. I would love for everybody here to donate the maximum $1,000. It's $2,000 if you're a couple. $200, $100, I want to talk to you about $5. $5. Everybody here, if you could donate something, you might think that that $5 doesn't mean anything. That $5, there's something that goes along with that $5. Get a Christmas card.
There's a picture of Davon and Dominic on it. So.
How about that? And what do they get for $1,000?
Maybe make them dinner.
There you go. But that $5, it's got your name attached to it. That matters. That you're putting your name out there. You support Tarra. You're willing to put yourself out there. That you support her. So, I think we've got, do we have envelopes out here? Somebody hold up one of those envelopes. Lots of people. You know what? The really cool thing about those envelopes. So, luckily I don't have an opponent, but I said to myself, no. I want big envelopes. I want great big envelopes. They're going to be, I want tremendous envelopes. They're going to be the biggest, the best. No. You want these little ones because they're just big enough for a check. I want you guys to get out your checkbooks, test it out. You gotta fill out the check, test it out, put it in the envelope. Please, this is how Tarra is going to win. This is how her message is going to get to stay down in Olympia. This matters. Your contributions matter. This event matters. All the great things that you heard today, tonight. Let's keep that stuff going on. I don't know. Do we have any other speakers? Am I it?
You're it.
All right. So with that, thank you all for being here. Please donate before you leave. I don't know if there's food left over. And congratulations to all the winners.